guys, welcome to another wonderful episode of Life Talk with Bami, the place where we have real conversations about growth, identity, and living life on your own terms. I'm your host, Bami, and today we are diving into something that both simple to say but hard to do. The topic for today is living unapologetically. We live in a world that constantly nudges us to shrink, to play small, to tone it down, to edit ourselves so we are easier to digest, whether it's at work, in relationships, even online. The pressure to be acceptable can quietly lead us to silent parts of who we really are as people or as individuals. But let's ask a question. But what if you stop asking for permissions to be fully you? What if you stopped apologizing for your strength, your quirks, your boundaries, and your boldness? Living unapologetically isn't about being reckless. It's about being real, about being yourself. It's about making room for your full self, even if that makes other people uncomfortable. So in this episode, we are talking about what it really means to stop shrinking, start showing up as you are, not as who the world expects you to be. We'll unpack fears, challenges, and most importantly, the freedom that comes when you finally decide to stop dimming your lights. So, what to get into it? I have three wonderful guests with me today to help me unpack, and one more guest is coming. So don't be surprised if you see someone join us during the course of the video. From top to bottom, I am Pontus. You can introduce yourself, what you do. So we'll take it down the nudge. Thank you.
So thank you for having me on tonight. My name is Pontus. I'm Swedish, as my accent give away, and I work in higher education.
Yeah, Pontus was my lecturer back in school. He's been gracious enough to accept my invitation to come. I don't know. I'm bringing back my lecturers, but maybe because they tortured me or something.
It's always good to see you again.
Yeah, thank
Always
you.
good to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Toby.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Toby, or Oluwatobi, but Toby for short, and I'm a marketing and growth manager,
Mm,
and I'm Nigerian.
okay. Chris.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Chris Agape
Hello?
Aja. I work as a policy fellow in digital health at Imperial College, so basically working on health policy and research. I look forward to this discussion. It sounds like an interesting topic. Looking forward to learn from you all and share my insights as well.
Thank you so much. Toby, you can just how would I put it?
Okay,
Turn
you
up.
didn't hear me at first.
No, I heard you. Can just turn up the camera so that
Okay.
you
Oh,
feel.
okay, okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah. So we have some different segments for the topic. I don't want to take too much of the time, so it's just be an hour plus, so that we can know. Yeah. So the first section or segment I tagged was self-reflection and identity. I want to know what's your take on living. What does living unapologetically means to you personally? So I want to start from Chris.
Okay, that's a good one, having me to start the conversation. What does living unapologetically mean to me? I think it means staying true to your convictions. I'm living, a life that is aligned to your convictions, living a life that is aligned to your purpose, and ensuring that that reflects, regardless, or ensuring that that is consistent, regardless of the situations you find yourself or the environment you find yourself. If you let the world or circumstances, they would want to conform you and shape you into different things. Living unapologetically starts by, first of all, having clear convictions and a clear sense of purpose, and ensuring that every time you interact with people and the world around you, you are living in alignment, or you're guiding or stewarding that interaction in alignment with with that purpose and that conviction. So it's sort of a two-layer thing. You need to be sure of who you are and where you are going, and ensuring that you're living in a way that is consistent with that. I will stop there for now. Yeah.
So just for a follow up. So how do you now like find yourself in this? Since you said like knowing who you are. So for example, I think if teenagers that are growing up don't know who exactly they are, and they can be easily swayed by peer pressure. So how do you now find yourself, or try to find purpose for who you are exactly living in this world?
Yeah, so I was going to even like that's a very good question because it's like when you say how do you live unapologetically, that means it assumes that there is already a definition of how you want to live before you
Mm,
then live it unapologetically. But coming to your question, how do you find who you are? I will say from my own experience, one of the things that's helped me is my faith in God. Having a relationship with God really just helped me to understand who I am and what I'm, created to do all my existence in this world because I believe, we didn't make ourselves, God did, and having that strong sense of faith and conviction and walk with him has been very, very instrumental. So that's on the larger, scale. When you want to then come down to like individual nuances and dynamics, I think everyone is gifted in different ways, right?
mm,
And so it's as you grow, as you evolve, as you mature, you begin to see that there are some things that, you are naturally gravitated towards. And this could express itself in different ways. Sometimes it could be things you are good at. Sometimes it could be things that you always complain about.
mm,
Sometimes it could be things that you find yourself analyzing, very easily. I have friends that, you know, if they by the time they analyze games for you and you be like, is it this same game that we're playing? Or they analyze movies or they analyze stuff. So I think everyone has some of those inborn natural traits that tend to point you towards the direction of or in life where you can be, successful and where you would find that alignment. And
yeah.
so it's that intentional process. So I think there's that fundamental signal in everyone, but what you do with it is then what makes the difference. And what sets one person from another is that one person has honed that skill, has pursued that purpose and that interest and refined it over time, and another person hasn't. And then the third thing I would say is just having overarching values. Some of the because I'm a person of faith, some of the values that just undergird everything I do, we call
Mm,
them the fruits of the spirit. Talks about love, patience, goodness, kindness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. So it doesn't matter what I'm doing or where I'm expressing myself. I want to make sure that these things guard and guide, the expression of my action and interaction. So I think on three levels, those are the ways that you can find or define yourself and your purpose. So faith in something bigger than you. Secondly, having looking at what areas are come naturally to you. What are the things that you're interested in? What are things you are passionate about? And thirdly, having like defining values that guide your life. What are the principles that you want to live by? That regardless of where you are or what you are doing, you want to live, you want to be kind, you want to be just, having those things that are guardrails for your
mm.
interactions in the world. Yeah.
Thank you. Still on you, because I wanted to like
I'm in
what
trouble today.
what I play like I want to like play devil's advocate. You understand?
Okay, okay, good.
I agree with everything you said. No, I agree with everything you said. But like you said something about faith. So for those that don't
Mhm,
have that faith that you have, let's say an atheist is listening to this podcast now, and instead of, I know that yes, everybody finds purpose in God. Everybody, God's the only one that created us, and He knows the purpose for which He created us. You understand? I'm
mhm,
down with that. But like for
mhm,
those that don't necessarily are believers,
mhm.
so how would they now find their own self? That
I
is the
will say,
question.
I will say, become a believer. But I will also say,
That's
so
a very good answer. Become a believer. It's
yeah,
true. That's a
yeah,
very
yeah. That would be my first. That would be my
yeah,
first, because I'm not. You can try many other things, and you could look at even statistics and all of that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
people of faith live more grounded and purposeful lives than those without. So
yeah.
I'll say that would be my advice. I don't think I have more to say in that
Thank you
regard.
so much.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get the other side of the whole
Yeah.
thing.
But I will also say that if you want to zoom out from that a bit, part of the ways of you need to find something that is bigger than you, right?
Mm,
We are talking like formative years now and younger years. If all your paradigm is tailored around you and what you can see, then there is
mm,
no incentive, there's no momentum for growth
mm.
or accountability,
Yeah,
right? If if
I think
if
from
the reason,
that
yes, yeah,
for me, so the role of parents comes in at this
yeah,
point, like formative years. They know the children, they know their skills. I think they've been with them more and more and more by the moment. So you see your child doing something, you can help him develop that skill, so that he can find himself. So parents actually play a very big role when it comes to developing that skills and living with boldness and living unapologetically. Thank you. Pontus, as an academic, I think I one thing I appreciate about you is that like you allow us. I think when you taught us, like you allowed us be ourselves. We didn't need to seek approval or do things your own way. You allowed us to express ourselves in like that and creative thinking as human beings. The like if you asked us to do something, I think there was this project that we needed to do, and you okay. You just made sure that yes, everybody in his own way or the other expressed his or herself, and like you give us credit for that, and you've always been supportive of our development, even when it comes to critical thinking. And I fully appreciated that as someone that lectured me, and I want to say thank you for that. So, like as an academic, how do you know when you are when how do you know when somebody is being their full self, or when someone is just performing for approval? How do you differentiate that?
Difficult to say, but just speaking as an academic, it's very, very important when we talk about being authentic as a person to kind of create that type of environment. I mean, our education system, unfortunately, it's not many times it's not until university or higher education that you are introduced to develop this critical thinking that really makes you into something authentic, right? If you look back at early education or primary and secondary school and even college, it's many times a lot focused on memorizing and learn and not really kind of question anything really, but at university this is what we really try to equip our students with, the ability to develop that authenticity as a person really and start questioning things and look at things from different angles really. Okay. Also, what I think it's also very important to include that in this type of environment that I describe at university, we don't have this kind of need to seek validation from people as well. And this is very, very important to develop or become this authentic person. You have to kind of drop that. You don't need to be validated. This is a safe space for you. This is a safe space for you to perhaps develop critical thinking or to question things, or maybe even question your lecturer or colleagues, etc., and develop in that way really. And I think that is very, very important, because this wasn't when I went to university back in the 1990s. This environment wasn't like that. It was completely different. So I think kind of we kind of come a long way in higher education really, and also if you want to be an authentic person and you want to be develop yourself and develop this authenticity that we'll be talking about tonight, it's really important to let go of that fear of judgment as well, right? Because if you have that fear of judgment, you're going to be judged by your peers or your lecturers, or later on when you go out and work in the real life, you're going to develop an enormous amount of anxiety and stress, and a lot of that is also psychological as well, so I think it's important to kind of foster that environment where you can actually feel safe. You don't need to fear any judgment, and you can express yourself freely. And I say freely within boundaries, because when we're talking about being authentic, it's not about being arrogant or so. It's about to be, to be able to put forward a well-constructed argument, really, and that's really what we try to teach our students many times.
Mm. And another thing I wanted to like share, like I think one thing I also appreciated was that you didn't like make mistakes feel punitive. You made it feel like educational, like okay, you made a mistake. You don't need to be punished to the extent of feeling like retribution
No,
for that.
absolutely. Think about it. In order for you to develop and being authentic, you have to embrace your failures.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, mistakes are excellent. That's the best way of learning. So I think it's very, very important. And not just in education, throughout your entire life. Embrace your failures. Because if you want to be that authentic person, you have to take risks. Right? Now,
Yeah.
that's not about being reckless or so, but that it involves you can't develop unless you take risks. And risk comes from trying things. And
Yeah.
that is in any, I would say, in any environment where you develop as a person, may it be at a university or practicing in a dojo, practicing martial arts. We all starting off as beginners and then we develop, right? So embracing your failures and mistakes are very, very important along that journey.
Thank you. So for the same question I asked Chris too. So personally, to you, what does living unapologetically mean? How does it affect you personally?
I think Chris summed it up really, really well previously, and I think Chris made an example out of religion for us, that I thought was quite good.
Yeah.
Because I think for me it's all about having values in place, right? You are authentic. You live by your values. Now, if the whole world crumbles around you, you have your values like almost like a foundation for you.
Yeah.
It's a foundation for your life, and things can happen. Anything can happen in life. But I think religion is a very good example of that. You have your faith, for example. I don't practice religion, but I think it's a great example. You have your faith, your beliefs, and your values, and
Yeah.
nobody can take that away from you, really, right?
Yeah.
But you can also have, I mean, they can be your passions, your family, for example. That could also be very good examples that are your foundation for life, that you actually live for, right? You compare that to, for example, you're employed somewhere. That job can be taken away from you overnight. But for example, your faith, nobody can take that away from you. So that's a great example, really. And also, like we pointed out before, if you live by something like a faith, then you don't need validation from other people, right?
Yeah.
You don't fear judgment. You don't really care, right? So you don't need all that. And that
I
protects
think
you very well.
you know, I think in this world presently, a lot of people are living life for others because they constantly seek validation of other people that really don't care about them. So that's why you see a lot of people on social media doing things erratically and doing things without thinking at all. And like, yeah, on the comment section, you see like, okay, some people are saying some things about you. People that don't know you, people that don't know you before will be passing judgment on having what do you call it, comments about you that are necessarily not aligned with the kind of person you are. So I think the only people that can actually validate who you are your friends, your parents, your loved ones, people that are constantly around you, and that's actually fine. Before I go to Toby, I wanted to ask both of you one question each, like the same question. So, Chris, what's one part of your identity um that you had personally before that you used to apologize for but no longer do?
a part of my identity that I used to apologize for before, but I don't anymore. I think there was a time, it doesn't matter the space I go into, and this is very funny even as I'm about saying it. It's like
Mm.
I can't hide, right? It doesn't matter where I get into. I just know it's a matter of time. I will be singled out. I will be, noticed. Hopefully for good things. It's been for good things so far. So that's what it is. So I think previously there will be times where I'm like, I just want to be normal. I just want to blend in. You know, I just want to be normal like every other person. But I've come to accept it that whatever space I'm in, I'm there to shine, I'm there to be different, and it's okay to be different. It's okay to
Yeah.
be the person who is, set out for, particular reason or for good reason. I'm getting more comfortable to just standing out and saying, okay, I'm gonna stand out here. By just being me, and this is left for context. This is not because I'm trying to. I know there are people who do things because they want to be noticed or whatever it is. This is just by me just being myself, and it tends to resonate with people, and people begin to be like, oh, just sort of want to get closer, want to speak with you, want to interact with you more. And there was a time when I used to feel uncomfortable about that, but now I'm leaning into it and like, oh, this is a good thing. I should be thinking of what are the better ways that I can even serve people who are desirous to be in my space or be in contact with me. What are the things that are resonating with them? How can I even multiply that to be better? So I think, yeah, that's an example that comes to mind.
Okay, I was waiting for Toby, but our network is going off and on. So Pontus,
Yeah,
let me
I'm
ask you
back
the same
here. Can you hear
question
me?
also. So that part of your identity that you personally used to
Can you
apologize
hear
for,
me now?
but no longer do. You care to share?
Yeah, I can't really kind of pinpoint any specific characteristics, but I can sum it up actually with the way I actually have let go of I grew up in a very small town in Sweden, and we did care a lot about what people thought about each other. It was a small place, but that was the mentality, and it's quite interesting because even I did actually leave Sweden when I was 20, and I haven't lived there since 1995, and but it took a good 10 years to get rid of that mentality, and it was quite interesting. And because we did obviously on daily basis fear about being judged and what people thought about us, and it was this kind of constant way of seeking validation that was completely absurd looking back at it.
Yeah.
But once getting rid of that was quite liberating, I must say. And just letting go of seeking validation constantly, and not really care about how people judge you. That was a great liberation, I must say, looking back at it.
Thank you so
Mhm.
much. Toby, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hello, Toby.
Yes, I'm
Can you hear
here.
us?
Yes, I can actually. I can hear you actually, but I don't
I'm
think you
not
can hear
sure.
me.
Hello, Toby. Are you there? I think she could hear us just now. Toby, I can't hear you. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Okay. If you can hear us, just switch on your camera so that you can like contribute to the conversation. So I wanted to move to the next segment, which I titled "Balancing Boldness and Compassion." Can you hear us now, Toby?
Yes, I can hear you. But I think there's something wrong with my audio
Okay, I can
that
see
you
you,
can't
but I
hear
can't
me.
hear you.
Okay, let me try and leave. I'll try to rejoin.
I can't
If
hear you
something
at
is
all.
wrong with my audio.
I don't know. I think she just unmute so that we can hear you, but I can't hear you. And you don't need to switch on your camera. Don't worry. I just want to hear your voice because the camera. I'm sure the network is bad over there. So I wanted to ask a question to Pontius. because some people hear unapologetic and they think it means harsh, dismissive, being a jerk, you know, or just being like, yeah, just being okay. I can live well, I can say whatever I want to say, but that's not what I'm trying to encourage here. So how do you balance being bold with staying kind and grounded? You can be bold and be kind at the same time. But in this world I believe nowadays, especially social media space, a lot of people are just harsh, very harsh.
Yeah. I think this concept is widely misunderstood many times. I think people think that, or there is a misconception that if you're bold, it almost borderlines on being, I would say, a little bit of an arrogance, right? But I think it's got nothing to do with that, really, right?
Mm,
Because being bold and arrogant is not the same thing, or being unapologetic and being arrogant is completely the opposite of each other. I mean, I know a lot of what I would define as unapologetic people, and I think one thing they all share in common is that they operate with a high level of empathy for other people. So they would be typically the people who listens, or are very good listeners. They have a high level of empathy. They know how to connect with people, and that's why they have also. It's very easy for them to I would say develop good relationships, really. And when you develop these great relationships, it's also much easier to find understanding, or you have people that resonates with what you're actually trying to um, what you're actually trying to put forward, really. So I think kind of being bold is not being loud, it's not being arrogant in any way. It's just a matter of having a certain amount of charisma that is also balanced with a lot of empathy and being a great listener, for example. So that is how I would. That is what I've seen through my kind of experience, really.
thank you so much. Toby, can you hear me now? I don't know what's going on. I think it's so Chris. So what advice would you give to somebody that is afraid of being too much for others? Some people can actually be a lot, or you can be tagged as doing too much in the Niger space. Let me put it like that. You can be tagged as doing too much. So, what advice would you give to somebody that's afraid of being too much? Just like some people's unapologetic living is that's their way. You can't tell the person not to be who he is. So you might be reserved, the person might be brash. You get. So what is your advice for that kind of?
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so sorry. I
Can
don't
you
know what's
talk
wrong
now?
with my mic. Yes, I can. I was hearing you actually, but the mic
Hello,
kept
Toby.
disconnecting. Can you hear me?
Okay. So c- hello, Toby. Can you talk now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so sorry. I don't know what's going on, but something is wrong with my mic and the app. It keeps disconnecting, so I kept trying to rejoin.
Okay. So before I go to Chris, let me ask you because you have not said anything
Yes.
since,
Yeah.
and I've wanted you to come in. So there's not. So I asked Pontus a question, and I wanted to hear your take on it. Like
Mm.
when you hear when some people hear and unapologetic, they think it means being harsh or dismissive. So I wanted to know how you balance being bold with staying kind and grounded.
Well, to be very honest, in the beginning when um, you know, start figuring out who you are, trying to set boundaries, trying to set
Mm,
rules, it's usually very difficult with, your relationships. And I'm
yeah,
talking about everything, work, personal relationships, whatever type of relationship it is. Especially because people are not used to the new you. So there are different types of reaction you would usually get. For me, I think there were the people who, took their time to actually understand who I was and what I was trying to do with, my space, and, respected that, and then just, go with the program. There were people who didn't understand and didn't care to understand, and just stemmed it as, oh, you're being arrogant, or you're being inconsiderate, or you're not being caring. But the truth, all in all, they're just trying to gaslight you into doing their bidding, or into deeming yourself to make them feel more comfortable. And so you will get different types of reaction. What
Mm.
helped me and what kept me firm was the fact that I had to remind myself why I was doing this. I was doing this for me, and I was doing it for my own mental health, for my own
Yeah.
personal peace. And I had to remind myself several times that, what, I have to do this. And even if it meant, being straightforward, like clear cut in certain conversations, I had to. But what I've come to realize is, if that relationship was meant for you, again, when I'm saying relationship, I mean everything in general. I'm not just talking
Yeah.
about romantic relationships, or, even family relationships, work relationships. If it's right for you, they would understand you, and they would stay.
Mm.
Right, that's one thing I had to understand. So when said, I'm going to give an example. I used to be someone that at work, due to the type of job I do, I'm kind of dynamic when it comes to like my skill set. So I would be able to function well with maybe like an operation staff, or like production staff, or inventory, or something like that. So most of the time I'm pulled into different projects that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with me or with my, direct deliverables, but like, oh, because you would understand how to use this tool, come in and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Or just someone randomly coming up to you at work to say, hi, please, I need your help with understanding how to use this tool. I need your help with this and that. And before, I would literally leave my own work and help out.
Mm.
Right, I would leave my own direct deliverable and help out, and then probably have to stay behind to get my own job done. And I'm closing when everybody has gone. Right, the office is closing by 6. I'm leaving by 8. Do you understand things like that? Like, I
Yeah.
had to start doing, and it wasn't working for me over time, because I ended up having, I was missing my own deadlines because I was helping other people. So it came to a point in that aspect when it came to work, I was like, you know what? If it's important, you would have actually maybe created time to get me to help you. And I have to understand, you not planning well doesn't necessarily constitute an emergency for me. So I had to learn to say no, or I had to learn to say, wait, I'm busy. Let me finish. When I'm done with this, yeah, I will help you sort that. I'll sort that out for you. And the
Mm.
first reaction I honestly got from certain people was, "Oh, you're proud, though. You're not getting proud. Things like that." Or, is it because we're coming to you, or is it because you know how to do it? That's why you're, those type of side talks that would make you maybe want to change your mind and be like, oh, okay, come, just because you don't want to
Yeah.
appear, proud or arrogant or a certain type of way to them. And I had to stand firm and say, you know what, yes, if you think I'm proud, yes, I'm proud. I'm proud because I have something to be proud about. Deal with it. And I had to literally, yeah, it got to the point where I had to be firm like that. So, you know what, I've said no, I've said no. Or I've said wait. If you can't wait, then sorry, I really can't help. And over time, the people that actually truly mattered and meant well stayed and understood and just got with the program. It got to a
Yeah.
point my friends would share my calendar and they would look through my calendar. Okay, she's busy at this point, and they would, they started working the way I would want and the way I would want to work with me. But the people who were not right, of course, would leave. So I think having coming to that, first of all, to be able to do this, living unapologetically well, you have to first of all be confident in yourself, have like a firm foundation, because along the way you would hear a lot of things, lose a lot of friendships, like a lot of relationships. You would have issues along the line that would make you want to shake and be like, oh, maybe I should, compromise here. Maybe I should, like, reduce it a bit there, just to make the other person feel comfortable. But if you have the firm foundation, be it your faith, be it your morals, be it family, whatever it is that is like motivating and grounding you, um, you would be able to say no when you need to say no, right? So I think that's just basically how it's worked for me.
Yeah. So also follow up. as youths that are coming up like right behind us, especially teenagers, why do you feel that they need constant validation from people that they don't care about, like especially on social media? If you're doing, especially if you're not doing something illegal, you
Mm.
just there your pictures and comment section, people are just bashing you for nothing, and some people actually go into depression because of that opinion of other people that don't actually know them personally. Why do you feel that that is rampant nowadays? And why do you feel like many of our youths or teenagers coming up actually fall into the trap of caring about other people's opinion that don't matter to them? The only opinions I feel you should care about are the opinions of people that actually
It
care about
really
your
matter. Mm-hmm.
goals, your parents, your loved ones, probably your church members, people that know you personally, not people that follow you online.
Well, I think there are different things to it. The first thing I would say is you can't really blame them, right? You can blame them to some
I'm
extent, but you
not
can't
blaming anybody. I'm
completely
just
blame them.
asking
No,
why.
no, you don't get. No, no, no. I'm not saying you're blaming them. I'm saying
Oh,
their generation. They grew up with social media. They were born into the world of social media, right? So
okay.
that's what they know. That's all they know. And then we have, parents these days who, to avoid stress and to avoid their child constantly speaking to them, they straight you to your phone. Just use your phone and let me be. So that personal relationship with parents is reducing. So then who do they turn to? Social media, because that's what they know. That's what they have. You can't compare it to someone who was already in say age 10 when social media came out, or someone who was already a full-blown teenager when social media came out. I mean, this was something they had to learn to use. This was something they had to then adapt to and like imbibe into their own daily life, not something they necessarily grew up with. So for this new generation, it's very, very easy to get lost in the noise of social media, right? It's only a very few that I would say are kind of grounded in themselves that can be confident enough to put themselves out there on social media and not care what people are saying. Like I said, they would have to. These people that are grounded, it didn't just drop on them. They had family to help, right? They had like real people with real and real conversations to help, not people where I mean we in most how like put it, in most cities, like the way it's set up. I mean, I live in Lagos, and with the way Lagos is very very difficult for a teenager to have that type of grounded relationship with their parents like we had. It's not so easy to do. So I think with the way the society is moving and the way things are changing, they are just living with what they know. So they go to what's
Mm,
familiar, which is social media. But imagine when you were young, for example, you get back from school. If your mom is not at home, someone is at home. Someone is always at home, right? That is making
mm,
you say, "Oh, go do your homework, go get ready for this, go do that." You get what I'm saying? You can't compare
yeah,
to
yeah,
now. Yeah, and when you're done with your homework, max, if you want to watch TV, you're probably watching TV with your family. You get that type of thing. But now
yeah.
it's just get even schools these days are digitalizing everything. Their assignments are probably on their laptops or their tabs. So how do you now even separate schoolwork from social media? How do you that proper design is not there for them? So that's
Mm,
why I said I can't blame them totally. I would say everyone is to blame. The parents are involved. The school is involved, and these teenagers, that's all they know. They were born, and social media was already in existence. It was a big deal already,
yeah.
and then we push them to it because that conversation is not happening, that family grounding is not there. So I think that's why they are more bothered um, by getting that seeking that validation online. And another
Mm,
thing I would say is even with not just teenagers in now, even with adults, we people tend to have like two lives. There's a social media personnel and there's another person in real life. And that's why I've heard people say, like, people make weird, absurd comments. And then you meet them in real life, and I'm like, how on earth are you comfortable making that type of comment on someone else's post, and they're like, "Oh, we're just catching cruise. It's all fun and games. Oh, that's not who I am in real life." So it's like I've read it so many times now that people are having two lives basically. There's someone else on social media and there's someone else in real life. So if people, and because of that, that fake life, that seeking validation life is a big thing, but it's not real. In real life with real people, it doesn't really exist looking at it. But we've created this social media lifestyle that people focus on too much. And when it's easy to get lost in social media. Even when you just pick your phone and you're scrolling through Instagram, you want to look at just one page. If you're not careful, you're looking at two, three pages. You're scrolling to the
Yeah,
fourth one. It's very easy
yeah,
to get lost in the noise. It's very, very easy to get lost in the noise. I think I'm coming from an aspect where, because I use social media a lot for work and also for leisure and all of that. So it's
yeah,
very easy to get lost in the noise. So when you have nothing, that's why I kept coming back to family and real life conversations. So you have nothing to fall back on. You're lost in it. And it's
yeah.
like a drug. You get 10 comments today telling you, oh, nice pictures, 20 likes. Tomorrow is not enough. Tomorrow you have 30.
Mm.
Now you want more. Next day you want 40. And now when you're not getting it, it's like, what's happening? Now you want to do anything you can to get it. So yes, yeah, I think that's just what's happening with this new generation. So it's not just them, it's us as well.
I think the problem about living about social media is like it blurs the line between real life reality, your your reality, and like an alternate reality. One caveat to the audience is that when I mean living up unapologetically, I don't mean condoning misbehavior or bad behavior on social media. You can't um control your social media life as if you don't have family members.
Mm,
let,
mm.
let me
I
put it like
always
that.
say that I'm very
Because
thankful that my family members do
some
not
things some people
embarrass
do,
me.
you think they don't have family members, or
I'm
they just
telling
came
you,
in this world and they are just living their life like there's no caution, there's no decorum, there's no like somebody in their life that can say stop this, you have gone too
like, what are
far.
you doing? Right.
Yeah, like
I don't know if
you
you've
can't
heard, sorry, I don't know if you've heard this thing
just
recently,
yeah,
like
you can't
people
put it
say now.
I'm sorry to say
When
not stupid.
someone does something, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're saying
When
something.
someone does something stupid now on social media, I mean, this goes back to the family. When someone does something stupid and maybe other people, instead of engaging in that, they just say, you know what, now I'm not going to do this. I'm loved at home. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
seen or heard it. That's because they know that for you to do this is because your real life, your
Mm,
family, like you have nothing to fall back on. There's nobody, like you said, there's nobody telling you to stop. There's nobody telling you, oh, I saw what you posted
mm,
yesterday. Like, what is your, like? Nobody's holding you accountable. So
yeah.
you misbehave. So now people are getting more into it. That you know what? No, I have family members. I'm loved at home. I can't be seen doing this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the reason why society has fallen to decadence is that like people validate bad behavior. I think you
Yeah.
post something that is controversial or nudity,
You get
and
views.
that what I'm saying. Like, yes, it is good to be bold, but that is just plain. How will I put it? Kind of dismissive boldness. Let me put it like that, whereby you think you're doing something right, but you're not doing right. So in that space now, and people are commenting, "Oh, nice body, nice this, nice that." That doesn't make sense. What I'm trying to say is that okay, you're doing a business, like you are a real estate person, and on your comment sections, because maybe probably you had a bad deal with someone and the person didn't like the kind of deal and the person is trying to bash you to be able to spoil your business. You understand? What I'm trying to say is that okay, you can't take that comment seriously, although customers are always right. But you know that yes, I gave this person a fair deal. You know, instead of coming online to call me out, why can't we just have a conversation? You get what I'm saying? And the thought that people that love you around you feel about you matters, not okay, you post your nudity online and people are saying, oh, nice, nice this, nice that, because the people are actually what do you call it, moved by what they see, not moved by what they hear. So once they see something nice, it's okay, nice this, nice. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to This is not about promoting misbehavior, bad behavior, or some abrasive decisions. No, this is about living your life, like Chris said, by faith as to the purpose for which you were brought into this life to live. So if you want to live your life after that purpose, it's on you. But that is the apologetically we are talking about here. I'm trying to just, lay it out to the audience so they don't misconstrue what we are talking about here. So Chris, I was before I went to Toba, I was asking you, like, what advice you give to somebody that's afraid of being too much for others, that is considered like being too much for others.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. I think the answer to the question lies in the question, with the word others. So the challenge is you will feel you are too much or too small if other people remain the yardstick. I think living apologetically, and this is establishing all of the parameters and the foundations we started this conversation with, that you at this point there is a clarity of purpose and a sense of direction. There's an understanding of yourself. They establish values like Pontus was talking about. So I'm giving this response that all of these foundations are already set, right? That you've already set good values that guard your life. You have a clear vision where you are going to. And so you would always feel you're too much or you're too small if you're comparing yourself to other people. The yardstick should be that internal, compass, that conviction, that purpose, that goal. That is what you should be comparing yourself to and saying, am I expressing myself to the fullest of my capacity? Am I expressing myself to the fullest of that which I have and can be a blessing, that can help the world? And if I'm not doing that, if I'm doing that, then I'm living my life to the full. It's not too much. It's as much as I can give. Um, that's what I'm doing. And whether you try to shrink yourself or whatever it is, depending on the response of people, people will always have opinions about you, right? And that's what, Pontus was talking about, coming to that place where you are indifferent. You're not trying to gain the validation of people. If you
Mm,
don't do anything, people will say, why are you lazy? Why are you so laid back? If you do things, people will say you're doing too much. So you can never satisfy the expectations of people, because just as there are many faces, there are many expectations. What should be your alignment should be that internal compass and that, conviction of what you are here to bring to the world, and ensuring that you are aligning to that as much as possible. And then the other thing I was going to say was, the thought is coming in and out. I was going to make a second point. But yeah, so having that, and then um um okay, once the thought comes back, I will share it. But yeah, but just stating
okay.
clearly that you can't please people. You have to live your life to the fullest of that conviction that you have, on the inside, and that's what really really helped. Yeah.
Mm, okay. I know you were about to go, but just I want to ask one more question in
Yeah.
the next second. They can. I just want to just like I think I just want to end this segment by saying, well, growing up, my parents used to tell me, for those that know who they are, especially those that knows the purpose for which they are in this world, there are two kind of people. People that the world will give whatever it is, accrued to them. That means whatever comes your way, it's fine. But another set of people is people that actually demand what exactly they want out of this life. So you can choose who you want to be. You want to demand what you feel you are due. That means you get to have, the biggest pie in the whole equation. But people that just give whatever, so that means everybody has already taken out of what they want to take. Then maybe okay, let's just pity him and give him this one, and that's it. You know. I hope you're not in the second category because
Mm,
it's always a miserable category. It always ends in depression. It always ends in, I don't say regret, but
mm,
like they end up being, why is this working? Why is this not working for me? Why is the country not working for me? Why is it working for the set of people?
mm,
And I think a long time ago, I stopped living my life like that because I always want to demand what is always accrued to me. I think Pontus knows that because at the time I had to. Oh my god. Pontus knows that, especially with the way, he lectured me because there was a time, I think there was a time, one thing that I appreciated them, most of my lecturers was like just coming out to defend your work, defend what you put out. You wrote this thing, come out and defend it in front of everybody, and you tell us why this is so and so. So if you come out and you can't talk, it's your it's your cup of tea. Uh let me just move to the next stage. So I want to ask you first so that I can allow you to go. Just make sure that please you make sure the video processes before you log out. Thank you. So I wanted to know because this next segment I target navigating pushback and fear. So I wanted to. It's two questions actually.
Mm.
Sorry. So how do you handle situations where being authentic leads to judgment, rejection, loss of friendships? How do you handle situations like that?
Okay. Sorry, who is answering this question?
No,
Is
Yes,
it?
it's
go on.
because you said you want to leave.
Yes,
That's why I said
yes. Okay, great.
leave.
So I think is first of all is expectation. I think part of the challenge is people don't expect that there will be failures, right? So I think the first thing is getting comfortable that if you start living your life in true alignment to who you are and where your convictions, there will be pushback. And Toby was giving an example of that. Some people wouldn't understand. People would respond in one way. The responses may not always be pleasant. So I think first of all is coming to the place where you expect that and you are comfortable with it, that not everyone will align to you as would have a favorable response towards your paradigm or perspective towards life. I think part of the challenges is that people live like everyone should be in agreement with them. So first of all, having that mindset and that mental framework that there will be pushbacks, there will be disappointments, this will result in a change is necessary. Secondly, is understanding that that process, if handled well, will lead to growth, right? So it's this understanding that even as a person, you are evolving, right? So, and this is where you strike the balance between being resentful or being bashful in the name of living unapologetically. When you begin to get some of these responses from your environment, it's teaching you something about the environment, also teaching you something about yourself. And so it's like when these things are happening, you are taking a step back to say, okay, so what have I learned from this? What do I need to apply? What do I need to gain from this situation to how I interact with the world so that I'm a better person and I'm better able to, continue living my life, successfully and in a way that prospers. And then at the end of that emerges growth, right? So at the end of that, then emerges growth, and that cycle, continues as you meet challenges and on and on and on. So, but I think foundationally, there will be pushback expected. And when it comes, take a step back to say, don't just, it's very easy to be, it's me against the world. Nobody understands me. I'm living my life. Everyone is against me. No, if pushback is coming, what is this telling me about myself? What is it telling me about people? What do I want to earn from that? How can I use that to facilitate my growth and even become a better version of myself? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chris. I know you're about to go now, so I want to say I really, really appreciate you taking like time out of your busy schedule to come and
Thank you.
talk to us. So you have an open invitation to come anytime, honestly.
Thank you.
So so much. Yeah, I know you're about to go now, so
All right.
thank you so.
So let me just say thank you. Thank you so much, Pontus and Toby, as well
Thank
for
you.
yeah, great speaking with you.
Yeah, thank
Uh,
you.
all
Yes.
right.
You.
Have a wonderful rest of the conversation. Just to confirm, it's 99% fine because that's where it's been.
And thus, like once you log out, and it sees that when it says processing completed, that's it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Or I'll be monitoring from here. Is there anything I'll call you back? Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, Chris.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Yeah, bye.
So, Toby, so the same question I wanted to ask you also. So how do you handle situations where, you know, being authentic leads to judgments, rejection, loss of friendships. How do you handle situations like that?
Yeah, so I think I kind of mentioned a little bit when I was talking earlier. I think the first thing, and like Chris said, you need to understand where you're coming from, what the foundation is, and what your value is. And
Mm,
so that when that pushback comes, it helps you remain grounded, right? And also, I would say this: it's very okay to know that you've outgrown a situation, an environment, or a person. There, I don't. I used to have this feeling of, oh, maybe it's not like when you outgrow someone, or when you realize that you've tried your best to maybe make a friendship work, or whatever it is, make it work, and the person is just not understanding it, person just wants to keep breaking your barrier, your boundaries, and all of that. It's very, I have to come to a realization like, okay, to outgrow people and outgrow environments,
mm,
and always see, like Chris had said before he left, see what the learn insight is in any situation. There's always something to learn, right? When you start having pushback, it's not going to come in the same form. You have to first, of course, see, okay, what angle is this person coming from? Like, for example, when I said people would tell me, oh, I was proud because I could not help them with work again, I could tell, okay, this person is just also scared because they can't really handle the situation, and they need to also meet a deadline. There are some people that
yeah.
is from their own insecurity. The pushback is from their own insecurity. So you have to also, because it's not everything you can actually have. You can change per se. You can change yourself. You can't change every other person. So some is from their own insecurity. And sorry, I like talking with examples a lot. So I'm going to keep bringing up different examples as I'm making my point. Like from the insecurity part, I recently met someone who could not explain why they had an issue. When she was out, she just said, there's just something about her. I don't know. There's just something. And that's all she could say, that there's just something. Because she saw that this person was not letting you disrespect her. This person was not
Mm,
letting you, cross the boundaries that she has set for herself. So she just
yeah.
knew that, yeah. So that it spoke to her own insecurity as someone who would let anybody walk all over them, did not have a boundary from themselves. Their morals and values used to switch every now and then because they didn't have any set values that they were firm, and any firm foundation. So it would shift and change as the situation came, or as the friendship or relationship they're in determines, right? So when
Mm,
they saw someone that was doing that for themselves, it spoke to their own insecurity, and they had no issue. They could not say anything. They just said, there's something about you. I don't know, but there's something. So it's their own insecurity, and you really can't control that. So you have to understand why you're doing what you're doing, first of all. Look at what
no.
the angle the person is coming from. Where is this
Yeah.
pushback coming from? Is it from their own insecurity? Is it from their own fear, or whatever it is that is making that pushback happen? Try and understand it. If it's something you absolutely have no ending, you absolutely cannot change, accept it and move on. So it's very okay to outgrow situations, to outgrow people, to outgrow environment. If
No.
at all it's good to outgrow environment, it means you're growing. It means the
Yeah.
growth is taking place, is happening. So if you've outgrown an environment, then look for another environment that will challenge you and even help you to grow. And one thing I
Mm,
always say is, I learned it from my mentor about a couple, 5, 6 years ago. But she would always say that every challenge is a growth opportunity. So when I'm challenged, I don't see it as a barrier. I don't see it as a problem. I see it as a growth opportunity. I'm going to learn something from this. Is it that I learned, okay, I'm not good at this, and then I try to learn how to be good at it,
yeah.
right? Or exactly, or I just learned that, okay, this is not meant for me. So just pick the growth insight or the opportunity from it and move on if you necessarily have to.
Thank you so much. Um. So, Pontus, I want to have the last word in this segment. So, have you ever lost a relationship or opportunity because you chose to be real? instead of palatable? And how did you process that if that had actually happened to you?
I mean, yeah, I suppose. I mean, if you think about developing as a person and your values, that doesn't happen overnight. There's nothing you're born with. It takes maybe half a lifetime to do that. And during that time, you do have numerous, I would say, confrontations or pushback from people in your environment. But I think it's important to point out that if I have a friendship with somebody, and unless I have some very, very radical values that I want to perhaps impose on other people, and they took, and that doesn't work. For somebody to I would say, surrender their relationship or friendship with me for my values, I mean, that relationship or friendship wouldn't be worth anything in the first place, really.
Yeah.
But I think it's also worth to point out that anything that's got to do with development is uncomfortable. You're always going to have an amount of friction if you want to progress. That's how we that what normally comes with change and progress and so on, really. And you're going to have to be able to take that, really. I mean, if, for example, if you are defensiveness, if that is your motto, and every time you have a little bit of a friction and you would fold instantly, you would never develop as a person, really, right? So I think that is something that you really have to take into consideration. And I think kind of the definition of a good friend or a good colleague is somebody who would accept you for your personal values. Because if I see that something is important for you, for example, then I would, that would be something that I would be almost supportive of.
Yeah.
Right. So that is what a true good healthy relationship would really be, really.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I wanted to go into this next segment, which is just the penultimate segment. Is like daily practice and how you can grow. So, what small everyday practices do you do that help you stay connected to your authentic self?
I think you have to really take stock of your values.
Mm,
Okay, I think that's really important. And really, you have a number of core values that are really the foundation. And like we said, the list is long, and it can be, it all depends. It can be different from, I mean, yours are probably different from mine, but it's very, very important to have that foundation, really. Okay,
mm,
but then I think as well, it's a kind of, you have to have a growth mindset. I think that is really, really important. Okay, and with that comes, you need to factor in that, for example, risk and failure, they are part of the recipe here, right? So if you don't fail and if you don't have any kind of resistance, then you're not making progress, really.
yeah.
You
So
know,
when you say take stock of your values, so how do you check in with yourself to make sure you're not slipping back into um old patterns of shrinking or self-editing, or not being connected to that part of yourself that you feel that much authentic?
well, you have to be quite self-reflective. So I think it starts to have that ability to reflect, really, and really be, I wouldn't say self-critical, but look at it really from
Like, honestly.
being honest.
Yeah.
Exactly, being honest.
I think that's the
The
hardest
word,
part
really.
for people,
Exactly.
to be honest with themselves.
But being honest and being self-reflective and just see what is, because I think,
That-
well, it's
the
not,
honesty part.
yeah.
Honesty is the hardest part for many people, and including myself. To sit down honestly and self-reflect and criticize yourself. Okay, have I done this correctly? Am I not supposed to do this in a different way? It's kind of how will I put it? I don't say unimaginable or all unattainable, but most people don't actually feel the necessity to engage in that. Most people, I say 50% of people live life as it comes, like daily. Just whatever comes, let's just tackle it that way.
You're absolutely, and think about it. I mean, we seek comfort. Comfort is the most important for us, and anything that includes some type of change is uncomfortable.
Thank you. So Toby, can you hear me now? Toby, are you there? Toby, can you hear me? Okay. I think if she can hear me, Toby. Okay. Let's just move forward. But I'm so sorry about that. Uh, I think I want to ask Toby, can you hear me now? Okay. So I just want to move forward instead of once she can hear me, I'll be able to ask her the question I want to ask her. So I wanted to ask, what would the world look like if more people lived unapologetically, live their life unapologetically? What would this world look like?
That's a
Would you all for
very
Warsaw?
interesting question. That's a very interesting question. Wow, that's an interesting question. I think you will probably have a completely different. If you look at a lot of cultures, I'm talking more about.
I'm sorry, can you speak louder, please?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I think a lot has to change, really, if you think of it. I think a lot of things have to change, and it starts with our education system. It starts with maybe corporate cultures, and it's probably I think kind of if you compare a lot of environments that I worked in 20 years ago and compare them to today's, I mean they have undergone quite a lot of change, really. And all that change, you can't expect it to happen everywhere, really.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're not gonna wake up one day and everybody's gonna live unapologetically, really. But I think I think for your inner self, really, regardless of what type of environment you work in, for example, or live in, to establish some kind of unapologetic lifestyle, I think it's very, very healthy for you, regardless if you are practicing it to 100% or not. That's made perhaps of less importance, really. But just establish it for yourself. I think it's a good starting point, really.
Okay, Toby's not here. I will have lots of. Let me just ask you the final question. If she comes back, I can just ask her the question I want to ask her. Then we can just end the program. If she doesn't come back, then I think this will be the last question for the program. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice about authenticity, what would it be?
Oh, don't fear judgment, and
Wow.
don't care what other people think about you, because most of the time it's in your mind. We are the harshest. I mean, yourself, you are probably the one that criticizes yourself most of
Yeah.
anyone, right? So I think a lot of it is psychological, really, and let go of that as quick as you possibly can. Forget about what you think other people, perhaps what their opinion is about you, or how they judge you. Let go of that completely as quick as you can.
Thank you so much, Pontus. Toby is not back, so I think that's the final question for today. So as we wrap up today's episode, guys, here's the truth. From everything my guests have said, living unapologetically isn't about being loud for attention or forcing your way into every space. It's about choosing authenticity over approval every single day. It's about honoring the part of yourself you have been told to hide your passions, your voice, your boundaries, your brilliance, and giving them room to breathe. Of course, it's not always easy, choosing to live fully and honestly might mean losing people who preferred the edited version of you. But what you gain in return is far more worth. It is peace, it is alignment, your faith, and the freedom to finally stop performing for other people, being a gimmick. You're now being your, true, authentic self. So here's your invitation today. Take a moment today, ask yourself, what part of me have I been suppressing, and what would it look like to let that part, shine unapologetically? I want to really thank each and every one of you guys for listening. I want to thank Pontus, Chris, Toby. I know the network has been bad, but I really, really, really want to thank you guys for taking time out of a busy schedule to come. Pontus, you have an open invitation anytime. I love you. I think I want to have you and Dalvoni on an episode together. you know, I'll craft out a topic for that. It's purely educational. Two of the most nicest people I've ever met. So, thank you so much for coming. I really, really appreciate it, honestly. And I've missed you actually. We should have drinks sometime. We should have,
Absolutely. We catch up very, very soon.
yeah. Thank you so much. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing this space with me. If you like our episode, please subscribe to the channel. Share the videos to your friends. It can help someone. And if this episode resonated with you, pass it to someone else. Who is learning to live unfiltered. So until next time, remember the world doesn't need the watered down version of you. It needs the real thing. So till we see you again next week. You can find us on all our social media platforms on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube at Live Talk Pod with Bami. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you.